In this video, we're going to have a look at using Final Cut Pro for iPad, Affinity Publisher version 2.6 for iPad, and all on the iPad A17, or if you like, the iPad Mini Series 7. Now it's an iPad Mini, and you might think that's way too small, but it's an iPad Mini A17, 256GB, and it has Final Cut Pro with Final Cut Camera as a standalone app on the iPad. The whole thing is about Affinity Publisher on the iPad, and I'm going to show you a publication that's over 300 pages long, made up of PDF pages all pulled in, and it's a non-commercial, or if you like, no copyright anymore, of the famous artist's cartoon course. So if you really want to learn cartooning, this is the one for you. But I'm going to show you how I've pulled it into Affinity Publisher for iPad, and so you've created a book format out of it. Now you can, I don't know if you can publish this because it used to be copyright, but it's not anymore. The copyright was pulled off it years ago now. I can't remember exactly when. But the point is, we'll be using Affinity Publisher for iPad. So if you want some pointers, follow right along with this one. Now recall a moment ago I said we were going to use the famous artist's cartoon course as an example in our publisher document. Now let's have a look. So what is the famous artist's cartoon course? So imagine Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking, but written by a dozen of the most successful commercial artists of the 1950s, about the skills you need to cut it as a professional cartoonist. It is 18 chapters, 390 pages on 8.5 by 11 inch paper. There is approximately a 70 to 30 ratio of space taken up by text versus pictures, so it's a legitimate textbook. The book, published originally in the 1950s, has apparently fallen into the public domain and is now totally free. Now I'll add a link to the PDF in the description. So let's get started here, shall we? We'll go back to the opening scenes. Now I want to create a new document. You'll recall I said it's 8.5 by 11, and that's just what we want. We have here 8.5 by 11, 300 dpi in inches, embedded documents. Now facing pages, we're going to do a facing pages spread, not single pages. You can do single pages if you like, but I'm going to do facing pages for this one. We don't want transparent background. Now margins and bleed. We do want some margins and bleed in this. The inner margin, I want it at about 0.70. Slightly wider margins on the inner than the outer. The outer margin, we don't want 1 inch. We want 0.5 possibly on the outer. We may change this later on, but for the moment this is pretty close. We don't really need the margins because the PDF that we're drawing in has its own anyway. Now the top I'm going to make 0.5, and the bottom I'm going to make that 0.75. These margins might be too thin, but we'll see. Now we don't really need bleed, but we're going to put in a bleed anyway, 0.33, because we don't want anything larger than the 8.5 by 11. Now bleed allows you to have a bit of flexibility there. Now you'll note that 8.5 by 11 inches is the standard letter size document. Now you'll see up the top there we've got a letter document. So let's give this preset a name. and call it cartoon book, and we'll put it in my presets. There we go. Now you'll notice the little star's gone from up the top because in my presets we now have the cartoon book 8.5 by 11. So let's start with that. Okay, click OK, or tap OK if you like. We probably won't need that command controller, so we'll toggle the command controller off and put that there. Now have a look over here. We've got 5 pages to start with, and we've got no master page. Oh yes, we have. My apologies, there's a master page there, but let's put that down there for the moment. We don't want to be bothered with the master page. We're going to start right from the start here. Let's drag that down a little bit. There we go, that's nice. Now what we're going to do is place the document. Now I'll put a link to this document in the description. So let's see. There we go, there's your place tool right there. We're going to place it from files. This is a files. Recents. Let's go search for this. Famous artist cartoon text. Let's see if that's the one. Get info. Yes, that's the PDF file. Okay, that's the one we want. So we'll click that so that we've got the text next to it. YouTube's giving a few messages there. Let's keep that off. And we'll open the document. Now, you can see there, we've got the document open. Now, you don't just want that first page straight in there. Let's show all of the pages. And we'll select all of the pages. See that middle one, select all. There's our margins, and there's our bleed. Now we've still got that over there. Because I've got snapping on, and the hover of the Apple Pencil Pro works really well just there. Drag the first one out right to there. That's in place. Now the interesting thing is here, we've got to wait for a moment because this is a really big file and it's going to take quite some time to load it all in to the little iPad mini. So we'll just leave that sit there for a moment and I'll come back to it. Now before I continue too far with this, I want to show you what we're going to do, or what we are actually doing, putting this together in Final Cut Pro. There we go. Now it's loaded it all in. Let's go back to pages. Page 307 it's down to. So we'll scroll back right up to the top. All the way up to the top and tap on that one. There we go. Now the whole thing is loaded. You'll notice that the place thing is gone. We're back to the document now, and you've got all of these pages in here. You'll just need to give them time to populate the pages. There's a lot of work going on here for this tiny little iPad mini, and it's the iPad mini A17. Now you can see the pages in there, but what we've got here, you can see the margins. That's what I'm looking at now. Now you can turn the margins on or you can turn the margins off, because they're a little bit, they're not really useful on here, because you can see in the center here, oops, I've moved that. Let's just tap undo there. you can see right in the centre, in the gutter there, you can see the little punch holes from the original photocopied PDF document, and you can see where the margins are. Now the bottom margin could come down a bit, the top margin possibly up a bit. There's a number 3 over here, that's page 3. Do we want that there or do we not? So to get rid of the margins, we'll go over here to the document setup. Not any other way, mind you. Go down to the bottom. Include margins? No, we'll turn the margins off. Click OK. Now there's the margins gone, you see. iPad mini A17. Now this is really cool that you can do this. This video recording I'm doing right now is directly on the timeline of the video that I'm making to show you momentarily. So before we go too much further, just let me stop this now and I'll embed it in the movie and you can watch this while I'm doing it. See that the video I just recorded, just 40 seconds of it, is up here in the top corner. So I'll drag that down there to the timeline and drop it in the timeline. So now that we have our pages imported into the document, all 300 and something of them, you might wonder how you can start this off as a book. Well, you can add pages, of course, and you can add them to the start or anywhere in between for that matter. And on those pages you can put things like the title page, the front matter for a book. And you can do the same at the end where you can put in back matter. So if we push the plus sign here, you can see that's just added 2 pages straight in there. But that's not what I want, because that's just put 2 pages after page 1. So we'll go back, make sure we've got page 1 selected, hold the plus sign down to add pages. Now we want to add pages before, and we want to add 3, 4, I want to add 5 pages. So that's a first title page and then 4 pages of front matter. But I don't want them pages 309. I want them before page 1. Flow pages, extend spread and new spread. No, we just want them 5 pages right before that chapter 1. Now you press OK, and there you go, 5 pages. It's just put 5 pages in there, and there's your new page 1 down there, you see, starting on the right hand side. So that's put 5 pages in. If we want that page 1 to start on the right hand side, where a chapter page normally starts, then we need to either remove 1 page from this group or put an extra 1 page in. Let's see what happens. Hold that down. Before page 1, we want 1 page before page 1. Page 1, there we go. Right at the start, not at the end. Click OK. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Page 6 is there. The new page 1 is there. Okay, now that's starting on the right hand side. See how easy it is to move your pages around. So we go back to page 1 and you can put what you like in there. So now they've added pages, but they haven't changed the document that you imported. Now, what we've got here, there are no masters other than that one. Now, we put the master in when we first created the document, remember? So don't just import the PDF file before you've created a document. Otherwise you have to then come back, and from there you can create a new master anyway. But we've already got our master. And you can do with your master pages just as you normally do with master pages. So I think that'll do it for the time being without it becoming too confusing. What I wanted to show you was how you can use Affinity Publisher version 2.6 now on the iPad mini A17 or iPad mini 7. I used to have the 6, but I've upgraded to the 7. And I've now got Final Cut Pro on there, as well as all of the packages for Affinity. So it's pretty well a standalone workstation, albeit very small. And I wouldn't try and do a movie on there, because you have to generally offload your when you're exporting this movie, for example, you need to offload it to an external drive, because you can't save it on your iPad. There's just not enough room, and it's not designed for that anyway. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe. Press the bell to be reminded when movies come in that you're looking for, and remember to share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.
Go ahead. Make my day. Subscribe.